The other big story on India First, Dr. S Jaishankar, India's External Affairs Minister, has exposed Pakistan, he's exposed China and Canada for supporting either terrorists or extremists. He's clearly said terror by night and trade by day is unacceptable, showing a mirror to Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror. China for the situation along the LAC in gross violation of a number of peace and tranquility agreements in place for over 3 decades. And Canada for stooping to a new law supporting Khalistani elements for vote bank politics in Canada.
हम अपने कश्मीरी भाइयों की आजादी के लिए भी हर कुर्बानी देने के लिए तैयार.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S Jaishankar talks tough on Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror.
We cannot allow terrorism to be normalized. We cannot allow that to become the basis for getting us into discussions with Pakistan.
Another blunt remark on deteriorating ties with China, holding Beijing responsible for not adhering to a number of agreements between India and China.
There has to be an adherence to agreements which were reached between us, and it is that departure from what was agreed between us, difficult phase that we are passing through with China.
And exposing Canada on inaction against Khalistan supporters, blaming vote bank politics in the country.
For us, how Canada has dealt with the Khalistani issue has been a long-standing concern, because very frankly, they seem to be driven by vote bank politics.
Pakistan state-sponsored terror was clearly in the line of Dr. Jaishankar's fire, where he made it clear that ties will remain strained till Pakistan stopped cross-border terror.
Until there is departure from, I would say, an abrogation of this policy of cross-border terrorism, clearly it is not possible to have, the normal relationship and not allow, terrorism to happen by night and trade by day.
The External Affairs Minister said he was perplexed why the policy of zero tolerance for terror was not strictly followed earlier.
I don't think, to me it's a fairly common sense proposition. In fact, if anything, I'm still a little perplexed by why we had not arrived at this position earlier. But we have arrived at it now.
This statement came just after Prime Minister Narendra Modi's firm stance against terrorism at the US Congress.
More than 2 decades after 9/11 and more than a decade after 26/11 in Mumbai, radicalism and terrorism still remain a pressing danger for the whole world.
Dr. Jaishankar also spoke of India's strong steps along the line of actual control to checkmate China.
Yes, again, our response to China on the northern borders has been one of our major, I would say, achievements in a way, because if you look at the scale of the response and the very daunting conditions in which it was undertaken.
He made it clear improvement of ties with China depended directly on peace and tranquility prevailing along the line of actual control.
We recognize it's a neighbor, it's a big neighbor, today a very significant economy and significant power. But at the end of the day, any relationship has to be based on a high degree of mutuality. There has to be a respect for each other's interests, sensitivity for each other's interests.
Talking tough on overseas support to Khalistan extremists, Dr. Jaishankar expressed his disappointment at vote bank politics in Canada.
If there are activities which are permitted from Canada which impinge on our sovereignty, territorial integrity, on our security, then, I mean, we will have to respond. So it is something which is I would say, a continuing conversation with Canada, not always a satisfactory conversation.
Confident and strong on facts, India is clearly exposing global doublespeak on terror, keeping India first. Bureau Report, India Today.